Revenge films.
It's been a few years since I married my husband, and we're a normal family with 2 kids, but we have a very happy life. My husband had a mother-in-law, but a few years ago, I had a small revenge on her. My husband left his parents' house when he was 18 and graduated university with his pay from his part-time job, scholarships, and some help from his relatives. His family was wealthy and owned a real estate in the center of Tokyo, and his father worked as a tax accountant at his own agency. But the reason why my husband had to support himself to go to university was because his mother-in-law got remarried with his father. His real mother had passed away in an accident before he entered elementary school, and his mother-in-law joined them after remarriage. His mother-in-law also had a son, and he was 2 years younger than my husband. But his mother was a demon dressed like a lady.
I will have my son take over the family business. I'll kick you out.
That was what she decided, and my husband was treated horribly. Unfortunately, his father was too busy with work and rarely got the chance to go home, so he ended up getting remarried before he fully grasped what she was really like. The main story starts here. Before we got married, my husband proposed to me, which I answered yes, and we decided to go meet each other's parents. We also visited my husband's parents, and his father was really happy for us. But the first thing his mother-in-law told me was,
Are you here for our money? Then I'm sorry, but you chose the wrong person.
And she spat at me. His father tried to calm her down, but that didn't stop her. My husband had told me a little bit about his mother-in-law, and he said she might be rude to us when we visit his parents' house. But when she actually treated us rudely right in front of me, I honestly got pissed off. And since then, not only my husband, but I also became the target, and she started to bully both of us. Well, I wasn't the type to give up so easily, so I did complain about her, saying she pissed me off, but I didn't get depressed or anything. I felt really sorry for my husband that he had to grow up in this kind of environment since his early childhood. The mother-in-law would often call me
A country girl. A girl from a house with no history.
and
A poor girl.
as if she looked down on me. On the contrary, my husband's brother, who was his mother-in-law's real son, grew up being spoiled by his mother, so he was definitely a stupid boy. He always looked down on my husband, but it took him 5 years to graduate from one of the worst universities, and it was clear that no companies wanted to hire him. So he started working as a servant at his father-in-law's agency, but he stole the company's money. And at the end, my husband's father had to close down his agency. Right around that time, my husband's father got sick. And what's worse is that the mother-in-law left him untreated for quite a long time. And it seemed like he won't survive for long at that point. Right before he got hospitalized, he visited our house alone and apologized to my husband on the ground crying.
I took her in before I fully understood her personality. After that, I was too busy with work for a few years, and it's my fault for leaving her to do whatever she wants until it was too late to go back. I'm sorry you had to go through so much.
And that's what he said. It was our first time hearing about how his wife and son-in-law was using a lot of his money, and that his family's money was about to run out. Lastly, he said,
I wanted to give this to my grandchildren.
and gave us a huge savings account. It looks like he had been saving some money for some time, and there was a pretty decent amount of money set aside, but it was clear that he was only able to save up a small amount nowadays. But we were glad he felt that way, so we accepted it. Right after that, he got hospitalized, and after fighting his disease for a year and a half, he passed away. While he was at the hospital, his wife barely visited him, and the nurse told us that she would only visit to bring him the necessities, and that she would go home without having a single conversation with him. She caused his agency, which he had dedicated his life, to close down in the end, used up all of his money until he ran out of it, and she wouldn't even visit the hospital when he was sick. They were like parasites, and both my husband and I were getting furious. A week after his father's death, we had a discussion about what to do in the future, with a lawyer who was close to his father for a very long time. He knew how horrible his mother-in-law was, so he was basically on our side. As soon as our discussion started, the mother-in-law said,
The two of you seem to hate me, and having a vulgar, inferior daughter-in-law with us has a negative influence on my son.
and showed us a document to abandon our rights of inheritance and a document to end our marriage.
Hurry up and sign these documents for me.
The lawyer who was with us just sat there expressionless. So I spoke up. Yeah, let's just sign this and end everything here. It gives me shivers to think they're part of our family.
I agree. Now we can finally break relations with you.
After my husband said so, the mother-in-law and her son smirked while he signed the documents. And when the lawyer received all the documents, he stood up to leave and said,
Goodbye.
I could feel that he was silently angry at the mother-in-law because he used to be a friend of her husband.
This is my house, so you both should leave it as well.
When she demanded this to us, the lawyer, my husband, and I all wanted to make it clear. This is a real estate owned under the name of his father.
This is my mother's house, actually.
Huh? You have to be kidding.
It's the truth. First of all, thanks to your extravagant spending, there's nothing left to inherit. So the documents they just signed don't really hold any meaning. The only thing that is guaranteed by the document is that your relationship ended nice and clean.
Stop the nonsense. I didn't know any of this.
I didn't ask you for the rent because my father also lived here, but it's another story if a stranger is going to be living here.
Then where are we supposed to live at?
Yeah, this house is ours! That can't be accepted.
The lawyer calmly told them, looking down at them with a cold stare. After that, he politely bowed to the two of us and left the room, saying he'll contact us again. We had nothing else to do here, so we decided to leave as well. Then let's get going, shall we? We'll contact you through our lawyer about the dates for when you have to leave this house. We're already strangers, so there's no need for us to meet in person. I hope you can move out as soon as possible.
Hey, I heard your family is rich. Can't you do something about it? We're a family. Are you going to leave us?
Huh? Did you already forget about the documents we just signed? We're strangers already. We gladly prepared everything if it was for his father, but there's no reason for us to do something for a stranger. The only thing you've done to us is bully us anyways.
Wait, I'll apologize. So do something about it. I didn't know we had nothing to inherit. We can just confiscate those documents, then that wouldn't be a problem.
We don't want to. Then I guess we won't be seeing each other anymore. Goodbye. We left them looking devastated and went home. I felt refreshed after I got to get some revenge for all the things she did to my husband when he was a child. After that, we told the whole story to the neighbors who lived close by and used to be close with my husband's father, and asked them if they can spread it around the whole neighborhood. They all knew how his wife was like, so they gladly agreed and casually spread the story to the whole neighborhood. A daughter from a neighboring wealthy family eventually bought the house to live with her family. The mother-in-law complained continuously about it, but because it was a property owned by my husband's mother's side, so she had no right over it and got kicked out in the end. At her new neighborhood, she pretended to be a poor mother who got all of her property stolen and got kicked out of the house by her daughter-in-law. But unfortunately, my friends lived around the area, so her neighbors soon found out her horrible personality, and no one ever took her seriously. After that, I heard from the lawyer that they believe they'll inherit a lot of money from his husband, and because they'll finally be breaking relations with us, they thought they'd be able to use the credit card as much as they want. So they even borrowed a card loan, withdrew the maximum amount of money, and extravagantly used up all of them. But now they don't have any money, so they're now in debt for all the money they spent. They really deserved it, don't they? The mother-in-law has been living an easy life as a housewife up until now, so what's waiting for her in the years to come is going to be hell for her. But it serves her right. Her stupid son would also definitely struggle with his work, so I hope he learns how useless he is in the hard way.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.